I am so excited to share with you this for sale by owner system, which is so easy to implement and it will sell so many transactions for you. So let me first start off by asking you a question. Are you better in person or are you better over the phone? Most of you are going to say, I'm better in person. So the first step to this is to get you in front of the for sale by owner so then you can start the presentation. So let's just talk about this. We're not going to promise things that we don't have. A lot of real estate agents do this. We are going to just set up a preview appointment. So ring, ring. Hi, my name is Dave Thompson. I'm a realtor. Wonder if I could ask you a quick question. Sure. Do you happen to own the property on 123 Main Street? I think you're trying to sell that house yourself. Is that correct? Yes, I do. My question for you is I'm just wondering if you were cooperating with real estate agents. In other words, we brought you a buyer. I brought you a buyer. Would you be willing to pay a commission? I am. Yeah, what commission would you be paying? I would pay 2%. Fantastic. And here's where the scripting starts. As a professional real estate agent, I like to stay abreast of all the houses for sale, not just the houses that are listed with real estate agents. So therefore, when I'm working with a buyer, I know what you have in case they have an interest in seeing it. So if you don't mind, I'd like to take a look at your house. Would you have some time available today for me to take a look at the house? So easy to get that appointment. And by the way, there's a lot of wording in there. As a professional real estate agent was one of the embedded commands. So now I come out to the house. I'm at the house. This is step number 2. I'm going to build rapport. And then I'm going to very specifically use these words in the next set of words that I use, the next language. So let me ask you a question if you don't mind. Sure, great. So what most people do who have their houses listed themselves have a certain amount of weeks that they plan on trying it themselves before they list with a professional realtor like myself. How many weeks were you planning on trying to sell it yourself? Ton of embedded commands in there. So let's look at that whole thing. So may I ask you a question? Sure. So most people, NLP, most people who are trying to sell the house themselves have a certain amount of weeks in place that they plan on trying to sell it before they hire a professional real estate agent like myself. How many weeks were you going to try to sell it yourself before you listed your house with a realtor? They weren't thinking about weeks before. They are thinking about it now, and it's just amazing. Usually the answer is 6. So here's the next step. So you have a wonderful opportunity at this point. You can actually interview some of the top producing agents, find out what they're doing to sell houses just like yours and getting them sold quickly. You could use their tips. Plus, you at the same time, you're interviewing, just in case your house doesn't sell, you know who you're going to pick. So I could stop out, I understand, not for a listing, but I could stop out and share what I would do if I was listing this house. Couldn't hurt, could it? I love those words, by the way. Couldn't hurt, could it? Because the answer, of course, is not going to hurt. They're going to say, no, yeah, I guess you can stop out. Great. Would tomorrow at 2 o'clock work? All this effort to this point was to set up the listing appointment. Now we actually have a listing appointment. You're going to do your listing presentation. And with a big smile, you're going to say after the listing presentation with absolute no pressure, you're going to say, as a professional realtor, I know I said that this wasn't for a listing today, but I need to give you the opportunity. If you want me to list it, would you like me to list your property? And they're going to say no, most likely. But every once in a while, they say yes. But here's going to be the close. Based on everything that we talked about today, do you feel comfortable that if your house didn't sell, but do you feel comfortable in 6 weeks that I could represent you on the sale of your property and get it sold? Are you comfortable with me becoming your realtor if your house didn't sell? It's really easy for them to say yes, because this is a forward commitment and close. So they're going to say yes. And they say, yes, great. Yeah, you can use me as a resource. Call me anytime. I'll check in with you every single week. And here's where the steps take place. First week, hey, it's Dave Thompson, your realtor, calling you like I said I would. Very important words again. I'm saying I do what I say I'm going to do. And I say that every single week. So how'd the open house go? Do you have any questions? Do you have any buyers interested? Last week it was 6 weeks. This week is 5 weeks. Is that still your intentions, or did you want to move it up? So we're going to say that every week. So the next call, we're going to have our talk with them, how the open house goes. You got any buyers? And last week it was 5 weeks. This week is 4 weeks. Is that still your intentions, or did you want to move it up? Last week was 4 weeks. This week is 3 weeks. Is that still your intention? You want to move it up? And you're going to do that every single week. Eventually they will move it up, and they're expecting your call. But if they don't move it up, our last week was 1 week. So it looks like we are listing the house on Friday. Is that still your intentions? Well, you remember those pictures that we have to do? Can I get those scheduled, and et cetera, et cetera. So let's look at the numbers behind this presentation. So I'm going to grab my calculator now so we can go over the numbers. So just look at these numbers. They're awesome. So you're going to go 1 appointment a day for a preview. 5 appointments a week. That's 250. If you take Christmas and Thanksgiving off, you're going to have 250 previews every single year. So I'm just simply put 250 in here. And here's the question for you. We're going to talk about, here's what most people do at this point. They have a certain amount of weeks that they plan on selling themselves before they list with a professional real estate agent like myself. How many weeks were you planning on selling it? Well, 6 weeks, great. So you have a great opportunity at this point. You have the opportunity to interview some of the top producing agents and find out what they're actually doing to sell houses. You could pick up some great tips, and at the same time, you can interview to find the agent just in case your house didn't sell. Would you mind if I show up tomorrow? That type of thing. So when you do that, what percentage of the time are they going to say, yes, show up tomorrow? I think it's 100%, but I'm going to use 0.7. Which means we have 175 actual listing appointments. Now we're going to do the future close at the end of the listing appointment based on everything we talked about today. If your house didn't sell in 6 weeks, would you be comfortable with me being your real estate agent? And it should be 100%, but let's just say 70%. So I'm going to take 170 times 0.7, and I have 122 commitments that I can be the real estate agent. And then I know from National Association of Realtors, they say 82% of people actually list with a real estate agent who are trying to sell it themselves. So I'm going to take 0.82, and guess what? I came up with 100 listings. Now, 100 extra listings. Now, if I do 100 extra listings, let's just say 80% of them sell. So that gives me an extra 80 sales. Now, I do know some of those sellers are actually going to end up being buyers. They're going to buy a house from me, and I'm going to pick up extra transactions because I have listings, but it's at least 100. That's 100 sales because I did 1 preview appointment a day. This system is so easy to do, the For Sale by Owner system.